It's time to go over one of the most important parts of the whole local domain empire system, because if you don't get this right, things won't go as well as they should for you. You need to understand the psychology of email and how business people think. It's not difficult. There are just some basic concepts that you need to understand and utilize. So in this video, I'm going to cover these points for you, and I will also provide email swipes that you can use to create your own email campaigns. So let's get started. Your goal for your first contact with any potential buyer is to get them to communicate with you. Get them to engage in conversation. Remember, this is your first contact with the prospect. If they don't reply to you, the campaign pretty much ends there. So it's important for you to get them to try to communicate. Trust is the biggest point of resistance. Instill confidence right from the beginning. Now, what that means is when a business owner receives an email from you, someone they don't know, they need to be able to reference who you are, why you're emailing them, and they just need some basic information about you in that initial email so they understand that you're not a spammer, that you're a business person like they are, and simply communicating with them to present to them something that can benefit them. You must instill confidence right from the beginning. Your email should be as casual as possible, written as if it's from one friend to another, not salesy. You are not a salesperson. You're not a salesman. You are simply pointing out an offer that you have that will benefit them. Just as if you had a friend in business and you wanted to let them know, hey, by the way, take a look at this. I've got something that'll increase your sales online. That's the feel of the message. You do not want it to be a sales pitch. Business people are busy. You have to understand that. Keep your emails as short and sweet and to the point as possible. When a business person receives an email and they actually open the email, they don't want to have to read through paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of information. They want to know who you are, what this is about, and make a decision to reply based on some very brief information that you present to them. Let them know their competition will have a chance at the offer, and it's a first come, first served, quick sale scenario. And there are ways to do this without sounding salesy, and we'll go over that in the email swipes. But the key factor here is when they receive your email and they see your message and they understand that their competition may be able to outdo them by taking advantage of this offer instead of them, it gives them incentive to reply to you. So we'll cover that a little bit later. Be sure to include your real name and mailing address as well as phone number. Use an email address based on your own domain name, not a freebie account. Again, instill confidence. Now, when I say your real name, I mean your first and last name, something they can actually use to relate to you as a person, and a mailing address that they can use as a reference and understand you're a real person at a real location. Now, it doesn't have to be your home address by any means. You can use a P.O. box. That's fine. Better yet, use a physical street address. Some mailing services provide that for you, or it could be an office location. But get a mailing address in the email, which solidifies your credibility. A phone number is important to have in the email as well. Now, there are phone numbers available for $2 a month, and I like to call them disposable phone numbers. But to the prospect, it's a real phone number that they can call and leave a voicemail. You don't have to be there to answer it. But whether or not they call is besides the point. You can actually ignore all the calls you receive. You're just giving them a point of reference, and you're instilling confidence in them that they can contact you by several different means, whether it's a physical mailing address, whether it's a phone number. They have points of contact. That is so important for them to realize that you are a real person communicating with them one-on-one. Your email should be based on your own domain name as opposed to a freebie account. Don't use a Hotmail account. Don't use a Gmail account. Spammers use those all the time. You want to present yourself as a business person who's not hiding behind a freebie account. You're using your actual domain name that they can look up and reference. Again, instill confidence. Be sure to comply with the CAN-SPAM Act. Don't let this scare you. The FTC has set up a guideline that allows you to contact businesses one-on-one with appropriate sales messages. It is not spamming to contact other businesses with an offer that you have, even if you haven't contacted them in the past. Doing mass mailings in an automated way, that becomes spam. But the FTC has outlined exactly what you can and can't do, and you can find this information at ftc.gov, then search for CAN-SPAM. Basically, it outlines the fact that you must identify yourself, provide a mailing address, and the email should contain a message at the bottom saying that if they prefer not to receive emails from you, that they can be removed from the list, that kind of thing. It's very basic, but very important. Make them realize that you're talking to them directly one-on-one. I can't stress that enough. Each email that you send should be personalized in some way so the prospect receiving it sees that you are genuinely communicating with them. The majority of email marketers, so-called marketers, rely on automation and mass mailing. This is not the approach to take when making an offer to a local business. Local business people don't have time for nonsense. They don't have time for spam. Don't rely on automation. It is so worth your time to give each recipient the appropriate attention. Half the battle is getting them to simply open your email. Again, business people receive tons of spam, and you need to stand out from the crowd. And to do that, it's important to use creative subject lines. Let's take a look at some now. Some successful subject lines I've used are, "Hey John, when you have a minute." Okay, now that leaves it wide open. They receive an email with a subject like that, and it sounds like a personal contact, because it is. And what you're going to tell them, of course, is how you can help them. The next one is simply, "I love your website." You visited their website, you can comment on different things about their website that you like, and then go into your offer. Next one is, "John, I caught someone stealing your customers." Now, who wouldn't open an email like that, even if it was just out of curiosity? See, the thing is, you want them to open your email, but of course the subject line has to relate to that email in a way that makes sense. And the offer that we'll be presenting to them will make sense with these subject lines. Another one is, "I had a hard time finding you." You would use something like that when it's obvious to you that their website doesn't show up in Google, or it shows up in page 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or more in Google. Another one is, "Something I just noticed, John." And of course, that again makes them pay attention because you're talking directly to them. Or something a little bolder like, "Man, they're going to hate you for this." And of course, you're referring to you're going to teach them how to run circles around their competition. Now, these subject lines are just samples of ones that I've used, and there are dozens and actually hundreds more that you can use very effectively. Be creative. Just speak one-on-one with the client. Be their best friend. Now, did you notice that I never used a salesy subject line? I didn't say, "Get your website on the first page of Google." Do you realize how many messages every business gets that promises that? That type of message gets deleted faster than you can say, not another one. You know, businesses are overwhelmed with spam email. And there are so many email marketers that try to sell their services by saying, "I'll get your website on the first page of Google," or something similar to that. Businesses are immune to that now. You need to present yourself as a human being, not as a marketer. Put yourself in the prospect's shoes. What would make you sit up and take notice? Curiosity. Maybe reveal things about their competition, maybe mention something about their current website that needs attention, but whatever you do, you want to arouse curiosity. If anything sticks in your mind from this presentation, I want it to be, make them curious. Your email campaigns hinge on the fact that you're getting your emails opened and noticed. You have to stand out. You have to make them curious enough to open your email. Get them to want to open your email. That's task number 1. Once you accomplish that, the focus becomes the body of your email. The goal of your email message should be to get them to reply. Any kind of reply, even if it's not interested or something else. Getting recipients to interact is key. Once they've interacted with you, then it's easy to communicate with them and have a conversation about what you're doing and what you're offering. Recognize the fact that business people can smell a sales pitch from miles away. They have no time for spammy email. Anything that resembles a mass-mailed solicitation gets deleted without even any thought. Back in my direct mail days, we used to imagine that the recipient was going through their daily mail hovering over a trash can. Every piece of mail was given a split second to make it to the keep or trash pile. The same holds true for email. When a busy business owner checks their email, they'll typically find dozens of spammy-looking emails that immediately get deleted, often without even opening. That's why it's vital to capture their attention with personalization in the subject line and with personalization in the message itself. Okay, I think I've drilled that in hard enough. Be unique and make them pay attention. Now, naturally, you want them to inquire in a positive way, but be prepared for all kinds of replies from, "Will you take $700?" to, "I like what you're saying," to, "Tell me more," to, "Where did you get my email?" or, "Don't ever email me again." Now, regardless of the reply, be genuinely thankful to them and focus on serving their needs. Of course, if they said, "Don't ever email me again," don't reply, but make a note of that email address and keep it in a list of people you should never email. That's important. If someone asks you to remove them from your mailing list or tells you not to email them again, honor that. It's not only important for your credibility, but it's to comply with the CAN-SPAM law. Now, to stress this point again, it's important that your initial message should be short and to the point, but I'm providing you with several long and short email swipes that you can draw from. Please don't use these emails word for word. Use them to get ideas and to generate your own emails. Communicate in your own personality and be unique. You have a personality that has to come through. So please use your own personality and your own wording to achieve the same effect as what we illustrate in these emails. So you'll find the email swipes in the next video as well as in the accompanying file.